In part three of his essay, Cohen aims to explain why exactly animals do not possess rights. And he will do so by making a distinction between moral agents and moral patients. I'm going to try to lead up to that distinction, but I want to begin with the example that Cohen provides. This example involves a lion attacking a zebra in the Serengeti Plain in Africa. And his main point in this example is that when the lion attacks the zebra, the lion is certainly causing immense pain and suffering to that zebra. However, no one says, nor is it true, that the lion is violating the rights of the zebra. No one believes that the lion is acting wrongfully, is acting immorally by attacking the zebra. Why not? Why don't we blame the lion, morally speaking? Why don't we hold them morally accountable for causing such pain and suffering to the zebra? Cohen's answer to that question is that animals are what's called amoral, not immoral, amoral, meaning that morality does not apply to animals. In other words, moral concepts mean nothing to animals. The term morally wrong never crosses the mind of that lion. The lion is not capable of being moral. Hence, the lion and the zebra are amoral. They are what Cohen would call moral patients. And I will, again, lead into those concepts. I'll come back to that concept. If we were to replace the zebra with a human being, and let's say we were, taking a safari through this Serengeti Plain in Africa, and for whatever reason, we saw a lion about to attack a human being. According to Cohen, that human being does have a right not to be eaten alive. And if the lion eats the human, then that human's right has been violated. Notice, I want to make this clear, the lion would still not be immoral for eating the human. Animals, the lion, are amoral. The lion is amoral. The lion doesn't know any better. The lion is merely acting on instinct. But humans know better. As onlookers, we humans have a moral obligation to save the life of that human being, to at least attempt to save the life of that human being. Why? Because that human being possesses rights. As a human, that being possesses rights. As Carl Cohen states on page 401, animals cannot be bearers of rights because the concept of rights is essentially human. It is rooted in and has force within a human moral world. Only humans can truly engage in morality. Only humans are genuinely moral beings. Animals, in contrast, are amoral beings. They cannot even begin to comprehend morality, moral concepts, moral agreements, the possession of rights, respect for rights. Those are ideas that only the human mind can comprehend. Hence, humans are moral agents and animals are mere moral patients. Okay? To get a little bit deeper into this distinction, to try to make a little bit more sense of it, we can make a kind of analogy using these terms. When I think of a moral patient, I sometimes think of a patient in a hospital who's lying on an operating table. I say that, or I think that, because a patient in the hospital, in the medical sense, is totally passive. They are being operated on. A patient in the medical setting has no real understanding of the medical procedure that's about to be performed. The doctor is analogous to the moral agent. The doctor in the medical setting, in the hospital, has all of the understanding, all of the medical concepts in mind, and he knows exactly what's going on in this environment and what procedure is about to be performed and why and how it's going to play out. So the being who has the genuine understanding is the agent. They are the active one. You might say the active-minded being is the agent, the moral agent. The patient, on the other hand, is passive, and they are being acted on, okay? Animals are moral patients. Humans are moral agents. Humans have moral understanding, or what Cohen ultimately calls moral autonomy or moral self-legislation. Animals do not possess those capacities. Animals do not have the ability to reflect on their actions and ask themselves, was that morally right? Did I do the right thing? Or was I immoral for attacking the zebra? That's not a capacity that animals have, but it is a capacity that humans have. As Carl Cohen states on page 402, to be a moral agent on this view is to be able to grasp the generality of moral restrictions on our will. Humans understand that some things which may be in our interest must not be willed. We lay down moral laws for ourselves and thus exhibit, as no other animal can exhibit, moral autonomy. So recognize the connection to Kantian moral theory here, right? Kantian moral theory is all about respecting human dignity, where human dignity is largely grounded in the capacity for moral autonomy. And like Kant, Carl Cohen is saying only humans possess the capacity for moral autonomy, this ability to self-legislate, freely legislate for ourselves what we believe is morally right versus morally wrong. We determine, for instance, by analyzing our maxim and determining whether or not it can be universalized, we determine whether or not our actions are right or wrong. Animals cannot do that. Animals lack moral autonomy, and that is a capacity that only humans possess. Hence, this capacity for moral autonomy ultimately allows us to genuinely participate and engage in the moral community, to respect rights, to genuinely understand what it means for another being to possess a right, and what that entails in terms of moral obligations on the part of others. Only humans have that capacity for moral understanding and moral autonomy. Hence, that is why only humans, possess rights, because only humans understand what it means to possess a right. If you cannot understand what it means to possess a right, if you cannot even understand moral concepts, then you cannot possess rights. Animals cannot understand moral concepts. Animals are not morally autonomous. Thus, not only do they not possess rights, they cannot possess rights because, as far as we can tell, animals cannot be morally autonomous.